Oh, good evening, everyone. I, Balakdas Kurmi, welcome you all on behalf of ISF College of Pharmacy in the ISFCP Dialogue Series under the aegis of IQAC and IIC of ISFCP Moga. So, today we have Dr. Vinay Saini sir as our expert for the day. I welcome you, sir. So, a short brief about Dr. Vinay Saini sir. Dr. Vinay Saini sir, M.Pharm PhD in Pharma Science, and he is holding the position of Managing
Thank
Director,
you.
Ostic Pharma Private Limited, that is a startup, SINE IIT Bombay. He is also founding director, Tumas Foundation for TB, Malnutrition and AIDS at Mumbai. He is also worked as senior scientist, Ostic Pharma, BSBE IIT Bombay, Powai, Mumbai. Dr. Vinay Saini sir did his B.Pharm from Department of Pharmaceutical Science, Dr. Hari Singh Gaur University, Sagar, and his M.Pharm and PhD is also from Dr. Hari Singh Gaur University, Sagar, with the collaboration of desert work at CDRI, CSIR, Lucknow. Sir research instead interest is in vitro diagnostic, COVID-19 diagnostic, and other diagnostics such as rapid TB diagnostics, real-time screening and monitoring of child malnutrition, TB therapeutics, AI tool for screening, and Sir has received various startup fundings like 4 COVID grant DST at 35 lakhs, rapid COVID-19 test 75 lakhs, CRISPR based COVID-19 test Indo-US grant, rapid TB test, DST seed grant, DST Nidhi prize 2.55 lakhs for prototype development, etc. So, uh, without consuming much more time, I request you, sir, to start your presentation by uploading your slide. Please proceed, sir.
So
Sir,
thank you, Professor Balak. Thank you for your introduction. Yeah, so should I start presentation?
okay, sir.
Yeah. Can you give access to me to so that I can share my presentation? Okay,
Yes,
got
sir.
it. I was asking, okay, I got it. Okay. So can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir. It is visible properly.
Okay. So, okay, dear students, faculty members, and audience, and Professor Balak for actually for organizing uh, the presentation and talk for startup entrepreneurship and funding opportunities in pharmaceutical sciences. So, I am Dr. Vinay Saini, did PhD in pharmaceutical sciences from Dr. H.S. Cody University in collaboration with CDRI Lucknow. I am also working as a founding director for Ostic Pharma Private Limited, which is incubated with SINE IIT Bombay, and also running a NGO, a foundation. This is Thomas Foundation for TB, Malnutrition, and AIDS, for doing social innovations. Presently, also I am working as a senior scientist for child malnutrition project funded by Department of Biotechnology under a twinning program of Government of India between Northeast partners like Meghalaya and Arunachal Pradesh with Maharashtra. So let us have a discussion about the presentation. So you must be aware about that Startup India plan, and I am going to share this plan. What are the basics of the Startup India and how the students and faculty members they can float their projects under this Startup India plan and get benefit, get the grants. Apart from this, these grants purely basically for the commercialization of product, and these grants are different grants not only for the commercialization but also for social innovations and how we can translate any idea from prototype development, from proof of concept to prototype development, and then validation or in large population, and after regulatory approval how we can actually uh, translate or commercialize this product after various regulatory pathway. So now let us discuss about the Startup India Action Plan. This was founded by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi sir on 16th of January 2016, and there was a target to scaling up of these biotech startups ecosystem, and they kept to establish or incubate or incorporate around 2000 startups by 2020. But the target is more comparative to, so now we can see that there are more than 75,000 startups have been registered so far uh, till date, and the trajectory or number may be more than, and we are, I think so. We are third largest actually startup ecosystem in the world. So there are various programs which I would like to actually discuss about the BIREC grants, and what is the incubation period, and what is incubation and what is incubating. So incubation is nothing but these are the centers which are provided by recognized by government of India or different funding agencies. Majority of the centers have been approved by BIREC, and also these centers are being running by Atal incubation centers through different schemes of the or different financial institutions of the government of India. And so these incubation centers are nothing but these incubation centers provides a space and for the development of the technology. Not only they give space, but also they facilitates and give guidance about how to get the grant from different funding agencies, and they give space, give ideas about the, and also for the commercialization of the product, for developing the, or for preparing the pitch is nothing but it's actually this is the main technical pitch includes the technical aspects, your idea, what is your idea and what do you want to develop and what do you want to actually commercialize. So first you will start from your idea, and then you will develop from proof of concept to prototype, and then validate your prototype at conducive environment, and finally find the prototype if it is working well and we are getting good results, maybe for therapeutics or diagnostics, then we can take this forward for final approval after large scale validation or clinical trials and regulatory approval, and we can, otherwise we can transfer the technology to the large companies also. So incubation provides everything to the startups. So startups which are incubated, or startups are nothing but they are companies. They are initially companies, and generally the startup tag is given by the government of India or DIPPT, or it's for 10 years. So generally from the date of incorporation or date of starting of any company till from for next 10 years, this will be considered a startup, and there will be several benefits of these startups which will be given by the government of the different ministries or different financial institutions. So incubation. So this startup is known as incubating, INCUBATEE, incubating, and this incubator is incubated with incubation center. So there are different grants you can see in the left side. The incubation, idea to early stage grants, idea to late stage grant, then translational research grant, equity funding grant, social innovations, and CSR funding. So CSR funding is generally given for the uh, foundations or NGO, but CSR funding is nowadays actually is also being given to the different startups or institutions for social innovations. So these are the different types of the grants and different types of the challenges. Even national and international grants are advertised through the BIREC portal. So now come to the next slide. So this is the bio incubator nurturing a bio nest, bio incubators nurturing entrepreneurship for scaling technologies. So this is known as the bio nest. So it was actually uh, developed by the BIREC, and BIREC is nothing but it's Biotechnology Industry Research Associate Council. This is for Ignite, Innovate, Incubate. These are the three aspects or mission of the BIREC: Ignite, innovate, and incubate. So this is for creating. So Bionest is mainly developed for creating impact across the different sectors, not only in healthcare sector but also in agriculture sector, biomedical devices and diagnostic sector, industrial biotechnology, and secondary agriculture sector, drugs and drug delivery, and other sectors like biosimilars and stem cells. So this way, actually, there are several incubation centers. They are working under Bioness program and under the umbrella of the BIREC. BIREC is nothing but it's part of the Department of Biotechnology. So now come to the next slide. So here we will discuss in detail about the Bioness program. What about the Bioness program? So Bionest was launched by BIREC. Its vision was to foster the biotech innovation ecosystem in the country, unlike startups in the IT sector. So earlier there were several startups or companies in the IT sectors, and another vision is to step is to enterprise the ideas in biotech sector need incubation support of different kind, where they need a landing space to test their ideas and run their operations. So I have already discussed about all these things. How to, if you have any idea, proof of concept, then prototype development, then validation, and then so you can do all these things through the incubation center. And this gives access to the high and instrumentations and locate in a place where they connect with each other startups and mentors. So mentors are nothing but they are actually like professors in university or faculty members. So these mentors may be from different mentors for the technical expertise for your technology. They will give idea about the technology, whether the technology is commercially viable or not, and business mentor will be there, so they will be giving and will be helpful for doing the market research, preparing the preparing the business development plan, revenue generation plan, market research, and also sales value. USP of the product means unique seller. What is the unique selling property of your product? And also another thing is the novelty of your idea, whether it is novel and how what is the competitive landscape. That means how many companies are already existing in the market if you are related to your idea and whatever the product you wish to develop. So you have to compare in terms of the quality and as also affordability and also the price. So you have to prepare the competitive landscape. So such type of the actually guidance is given by the mentors, business mentors who are having expertise of around 25 to 30 years, or maybe more than this expertise in big companies. So they give selfless actually support to the new directors, or what we can say proprietors of the company, to take these things forward. So this way technical supports as well as business support, preparing pitch, preparing ideas, all these models, how to prepare a good pitch and models are developed, and what will be the commercial viability and the market research, and all these things are free mentorship is provided by these mentors through incubation centers. So these are the benefits if you are going to incubate with incubation center. So since you guys are in Moga, in ISF Moga, so I think so you have two incubation. You can approach to the IIT Roorkee incubation center. This is the nearest incubation center in your area. Otherwise, if you belong to
Yes.
Delhi, then you can discuss with the RCB Faridabad or Translational Health Research Institute, or IIT Delhi,
Sir,
or
we
some
are also
other
the
university.
MSME incubation center here.
Sorry,
We are also developed MSME incubation center, and we have 3 to 4
that is.
MSME grant is there.
Oh, very nice. Congratulations. So this way,
Thank you.
we have the Bioness program is basically for to have give the access to high end and instruments. So I know the
Okay.
actually capacity of the ISF Moga College, and really I appreciate the actually management and owner of the ISF Moga, who is initiating all these things and taking these things forward for the development, technology development, for commercialization of the product, and also to set also to give actually giving allowing students to take these things forward, and in the competitive market, as the nowadays actually the jobs are actually very few, and so these startups, or what we can say directors, can create job opportunities, or unemployment can be reduced by these startups. So the startups people are having more capacity compared to any other people. So this way, I am in this slide. I am going to actually let you know about the bioincubation saline features. So bioincubation saline features, I have already told you, provide incubation space to the startups and entrepreneurs, connect industry and academia, and enable interactions for efficient exchange of knowledge, and facilitate technical and business mentorship. It provides mentorship for IP, intellectual property right, and technology management, legal and contract issues resource mobilization and networking platform, establishing an efficient government model. So far, actually, more than 200 crore grants have been allocated to these incubation center, bio incubation centers, and more than 500 or 800 startups have been incubated. Startups through the different incubation centers, and these are the left side. You can see the big highlights of the big grant. The big grant is by this uh, big grant is mainly for the academia and also for the new startups who has to develop their if they have their idea, then they have to develop their prototype and validation. Nothing extra is to be done. If you have, so this is the big grant. So big grant is mainly for this initial stage. Now come to the next slide. So Bionest scheme focuses on world-class infrastructure and laboratory setups. It provides for the startups, technical and business mentoring and all these things, legal and IP issues, faculty entrepreneurship, addressing unmet needs of the society or innovations, global competitiveness, industry academia interactions. They are also helping in bridging the gap between the academia and industry. So far, actually, more than 60 incubators have been supported under this Bionest program, and covering around 200 more than 200 crore amount was committed for the Bionest in a you can see the large area. So 981 incubators were supported, means startups were supported. I think the number may be more this till date, maybe more than 2000 or maybe 5000 startups, and more than 200 total products have been commercialized, and 3500 total employments were generated. So this data is actually is yet to be updated, and I think that we are actually at the leading stage, and the numbers are more higher, bigger than the number which we are presenting here. And this way, actually, out of these startups, actually they have generated more than 250 IPs. So total 1000 total in training or workshops programs were also conducted by incubation center for the startups and incubators. So now come to the next slide. So these are the different grants: incubation, idea to early stage grant. So this idea to early stage grant is by a big grant, biotechnology ignition grant. Big grant is nothing but biotechnology ignition grant. Anyone can apply for the big grant. Even faculty members can apply for the big grant. Even students can apply. Students can choose a faculty member as a mentor, and then they can apply and they can start their work. Ideation to late stage grants. So there are three other grants: CBRI grants, BIPP grants, and CRS grants. They are for the late stage grants. Suppose if you have already developed a prototype and validated this prototype, and you have to scaling up and validate this scaling up. So fund will be giving for scaling up and large scale trials, clinical validation or clinical trials, and then finally for regulatory approval. So these idea to later stage grants, social innovations, I have already told you about this. So these are the different grants which are being covered under the BIREC portfolio. Okay. So far, actually, these are the different grants. They have already been grant challenges in India. So sometimes it happens that some international actually organizations like Indo-Australia Biotechnology Fund, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation through the grant challenges in India, and some National Biopharma Mission is for commercialization, product commercialization grant. So some specific grants are also being actually announced by the government of India. So you can see in the left side the idea to late stage grant. So idea to early stage grant is the big grant, but idea to late stage grant is CBD grant and BIPP grant. So you can see all these things in this slide. Now come to the next slide. So there are other grants like early translational accelerator grant challenges, GCI India grant. So within throughout across the time period, some grants are announced in collaboration with Grant Challenge in India, Welcome Trust, and some other organizations like Tata Trust, India Health Fund, or Social Alpha Quest. So these are the different and total also Tata Institute of Social Sciences and other types of the CSR grants from different companies through different companies under CSR head of these social activities. So these I have already told you, equity funding grant are like seed funding, leap funding, AC fund. So these are based out of the equity funding where the company, suppose if company is having 100% shares among between among 3 to 4 directors or 2 directors in a private limited company, then these shares are to be actually given to the incubation centers. So in lieu of these incubation centers, they provide the space. But most of the time, incubation centers provide the space if your idea is good, and if they are having funding, they give the funding. But suppose for the buy big grant, so buy big grant is actually at this moment it is open, and you guys can apply for the big grant uh, with your faculty member, keeping your faculty member as an advisor or mentor or technical expert. So you can apply for all these grants. So now come to the actually when these grants are announced. So BIREC announces call for proposals under BIPP, PACE or SIBRI. So these BIPP, PACE and SIBRI grants are still open, and the deadline is, you can see the deadline is 31st of July. And BIREC announces so these BIPP, PACE and SIBRI grants are announced 3 times in a year. Next grant will be announced in October. Okay, but big grant is announced twice in a year, matlab 2 times in a year. So still the deadline is actually still remaining, and I think so within 10 to 15 days, if you are actually discussing, or you can talk to the nearest incubation center, so you will get the idea about the how you can apply. So BIREC has recognized the different incubation centers for big grant. No, or not all bioincubators or all incubators have been recognized by the BIREC for the big grants. So you have to apply for the specific, or where you have to check whether they are having big grant facility, they are entertaining or have been recognized by the BIREC for the big grants. So these are the venture capital centers. NCL Pune, National Chemical Laboratory Pune में है, IKP Knowledge Park in Hyderabad, IIT Madras, C Camp in Bangalore, SBTIC in Hyderabad, FITT in Delhi, IIT Delhi, SIDBI Innovation and Incubation Center at IIT Kanpur, KIIT TBI Bhubaneswar, RCB Faridabad, BB Patel Park Center, Zonal Technology Management, Business Planning and Development Unit, and Gujarat State Biotechnology Mission, HTIC Chennai, KSIDC Trivandrum. And so these are the different BITS Pilani is also, and Ahmedabad University and SINE IIT Bombay. So these are the different incubation centers where you can see and contact the people, and then finally apply for the grants and ask them. So these are the names. You can see whatever the name I have already told you in this scenario, actually in this last slide. So you can see C Camp in Bangalore, VIT, Ahmedabad University, IIT Madras, BITS Pilani, and these are the logos of different incubation centers. So now come to the biotechnology ignition grant, which is the main grant for any uh, new entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs, or what we can say technocrats. So purpose of big grant scheme is to foster the generation of the ideas with commercialization, upscale and validate potential, and proof of concept, encourage the researchers to take technology closer to the market through a stimulate startup enterprise. And formation stimulate enterprise formations as a part of this scheme. Successful big innovators receive up to 50 lakh rupees from Government of India through incubation centers. These grants are not giving directly. BIREC doesn't give any grant directly to the companies or startups. You have to incubate with any incubation center, and then incubation center will get the grant from the BIREC, will have due diligence for your startup, and after due diligence, anything is if things are okay and they are positive, and if you have already secured, if you have secured the grant, that means if you have won the grant, then you will be entitled to incubate and then get the money in 2 or 3 different installments over the period of 18 months. This way, these are the grants. There are other types of the grants, but I think so. So big grants, I have already told you about the idea. So 1st January is and it's 1st July. These are the two dates where this big grant is actually announced. And maximum grant is 50 lakh rupees, and duration is for 18 months. And this grant is basically uh, for idea to with commercialization potential. Your idea should have commercialization potential. That means your idea should have whatever the idea you have in your mind, it should have commercialization potential. That means you should have it's the idea should be able to actually you should be able to develop any product using your technology, whatever the technology you will use. And this is mainly for the validation of the proof of concept, not for commercialization, but it should have commercialization potential. So the big grant is basically to encourage the researchers to take technology closer to the market through a startup, stimulate enterprise formations. And I have already told you that this call is announced twice in every year, 1st January and 1st July. So this is still open, and you guys can apply for this grant if you are interested. So these are the big partners: IKP Knowledge Park, Hyderabad; CCMB, Bangalore; Foundation for Innovation and Technology Transfer, IIT Delhi; KIIT Delhi, KIIT sorry Bhubaneswar; and Venture Capital in NCL Pune; C Camp also, SINE IIT Bombay, and you can see in the direct website whether the new incubation center has already been uh, allowed or permitted to entertain the big grant or biotechnology ignition grant. Another grant is, these are for the innovations if you have already developed your product and validated your proof of concept. So from proof of concept to the scale, for the scaling up and for finally validation and then finally for commercialization scale. So this SIBRI grant is Small Business Innovation Research Initiative grant is announced. So this grant is announced three times in a year: 15th of February, then 15th of June, and then 15th of October. So these three actually, three times it is actually this grant is allowed announced. Now come to the BIPP grant. So similarly for the CBD grant, this grant is announced three times in a year. Again for the MSME or for the commercialization of the product, scaling up of the product, not for idea. So this grant is this BIPP and SIPP, BIPP and CBD grants are basically for this statutory. And time to time, actually, different other grants as per the problems which is highly common or more common in public domain. So government of India or scientific domain or policymakers decide to announce the new grants as per the to sort out any problem. So nowadays you can see that most of the problems are being actually solved using the technology development. So you can see that there are actually there were if you belong to northeast state, then there is another big grant. So they have started separate big grant for the northeast partners states. So these are the different grants and challenges and hackathons and things are available. There are other grants which are available for the female founders. So if you are a female founder, then you will get some special advantages and privilege for a specific type of the grants, and few grants are specifically open for female founders. So let us move forward, and I think so the pharma people are having more potential comparative to other people, and they can actually start their journey of entrepreneurship. Let us have a try and don't worry about your success or failure chances. It happens every time in our life, but it's better to get the experience. And once you will, if you get success, then it's okay. That's a very good thing. If you are not getting success, then sometimes you will get success. So don't worry about in first attempt you should get the grant. It may take 2 years or 3 years. So let us keep on trying, and then if you are at this during this time period, if you are a PhD first year student or M Pharma second year student, then pursuing or doing your project, then you can apply for this grant. There are no specific requirement that the PhD candidate should apply for the grant, or some specific postdoc candidates can apply. Anyone can apply. Who is a good researcher can apply. So these are our highlights for Startup Award. Ostic secured a Startup Award last year, and then Sathi Award through Will and Melinda Gates Foundation in Indonesia for working in pandemic. A Startup Awards actually was giving mainly for our COVID product and donation of the product of around 14,000 products were donated in Meghalaya Medical College, Nagaland Civil Hospital, and also in IIT Bombay Hospital, and also one of the hospital in Vidisha, Civil Hospital in Vidisha. Yeah, I think its name is Atal Bihari Vajpayee. We donated these products, more than 10,000 products in different hospitals. And then we got the Sarthi Award. It was given by Gate Foundation and ADPC and FICCI. And the ceremony was organized in Bali, Indonesia. So these are the highlights and awards and recognition with Honorable Prime Minister Modi. And our foundation secured our own Social Innovation Award of 20 lakh rupees from Sudha Murthy Madam, Infosys Foundation, and Sri Nandan Nilekani sir we had an interaction with former HRD minister in IIT Delhi, and we are doing social innovation project in Pune with IIT Bombay for screening and monitoring of child malnutrition. We got to, we are fortunately we got an opportunity to interact with Honorable Sri Kailash Satyarthi sir. He is Nobel laureate. Everyone is aware about these things. So thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your very informative lecture to the budding scientist. And surely this information will be very helpful for the student who want to get uh, startups. And thank you, sir, for sharing your expertise with us and our viewers, which is almost pharma students. And I request to all the listeners and viewers, please put your questions and queries in chat box. If any, we will reply soon. So thank you very much, sir. We are
Thank
going to end the session.
Okay, thank you, Balak.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vinay.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Balak sir, you can stop the recording and then left.
कर दी